Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that was forwarded to me by one of our admins. This message, it comes from a translation of a message that we received, and that message reads like this. Good morning, Brother Nashi. I am a married woman and I have a confession to make. So life has been giving us flames in our country in Zim. I need whoever is listening to this to listen with an open mind so that you get it from another perspective. Let me not justify my behavior, for it is wrong, and God, I know that He is happy with me. But as someone who has been living in sin, you end up telling yourself that God does not exist at all. That is how you can survive without ever thinking of all the wrong things that you have done. I feel like if I confess, maybe the load that is on my shoulders can be drastically reduced. So as we speak, we managed to send my husband to the UK. My husband is someone who is a registered nurse, so his process did not take long to be completed, and he is working on the paperwork so that I can also join him there in the United Kingdom. Life was hard before he had left. There was a time when he was earning about $150. At that time, it was only equivalent to about 3,000 rands, and this is a salary of a man whom we all looked upon like the entire generation in his family. They wanted assistance from him. This money was supposed to cover food, school fees, black tax, and to clothe us as well, and it was not enough. This is when I told myself that I needed to do something as a woman because the money was never enough. At this time, a friend of mine told me that she was going to Botswana, and she was going to be doing something that was quite illegal. I was someone who was always scared of the police because I knew everything that this woman was doing, but she was getting paid a lot of money just to do this. She was going to Botswana there to sell some cigarettes, and she had a lot of money. So I applied. At that time, we used to apply for what they called emergency traveling documents because we didn't have the money to get the passport, and anyway, the passports, they were taking like forever for them to be printed out. After I had gotten my emergency traveling document, I then went and we left for Botswana. This was the following day, and I had managed to borrow money, and I had bought some of my own cigarettes as well so that I can go and sell them there in Botswana. We left Harare and traveled to Plumtree via Bulawayo, and we arrived at Ramakovane border. This was at around 9 p.m. As we got out of the bus to go stamp those emergency traveling documents, that was when all the dilemma started. After stamping our documents, my bag that contained all my cigarettes, it was stolen, and I had nothing. They usually ask to see the cash that you'll be having by the border in order for you to stay for about a week. In those days, you needed to have 100 pula on you. We took turns, and my friends had given me 100 pula so as to show to the border officials. As we arrived in Gaborone, I had no stock, no money, and I was stranded. My friend then took me with someone so that we could sleep in different rooms, and they used to charge 3 pula per night, but I remember that I had no money at all. Without having any money at all, she then gave me a piece of advice, and she said that it was far much better for me to start looking for some pieceworks so that by the time that it would be time for us to return back to our country, I'll be able to buy some groceries for my kids. So what I was now doing, I was washing people's clothes, but I would get something like 20 pula. Going back home for now was not an option because I needed money for bus fare anyway. That is how I met a truck driver who would give me his clothes so as to wash. I was given 2 weeks to be in the country, and then my days came to expire. I needed money to go back to Zim, but I had not made enough money even to buy a bus ticket. That is how I ended up being involved with the truck driver, and he really came to my rescue. I had no intentions whatsoever to put myself in such a position whereby I'll end up cheating my husband. He then told me that he was going to give me bus fare, and next time I would have to come back to visit him again. He gave me money for groceries and bus fare, and I felt so much guilty in my heart. I got onto a bus and we went back home. Upon arrival, my husband was more than excited to see me, and I had bought 2 big Shangani bags that were filled with food. There was so much grocery. I looked at my husband and I felt so much guilty because I knew what I had done, even though he was not even suspecting anything. I could not even forgive myself. And this guy, who was the truck driver, his manhood was really big. It was a monster. So I knew that if I was going to sleep with my husband right away, my husband was going to fall inside a big hole. So I needed to wait until I had recovered from that monster that he had given to me, that truck driver. So I waited and I kept on giving my husband some excuses. I told him that I was not okay. It even reached a point whereby I went and I bought some sanitary pads, and I would lie to him that I was on my periods. After that, me and my husband, we then returned back to normality. I told myself that I would never return back to Botswana again, but when the groceries was finished, my husband kept on pressurizing me to go back, and I didn't want, but he insisted. I went back and the truck driver was so much happy to see me, and this is the time that I moved into his place. We stayed together for the whole month. I was staying with him and he drove local trucks that were delivering food. That is when I got pregnant. I only discovered that I had fallen pregnant. This was when I was back in Zim and I had missed my periods. I tried every trick in the book. Believe you me, Brother Nashi, I visited several traditional healers that said that they knew how to do these herbs, that when they give you those herbs, once you have drank them, then you are going to have a miscarriage. I tried, Brother Nashi, but God, he had other plans with me. And after that, I gave birth. Ever since then, I never went back to Botswana. I then lost contact with that truck driver. At the moment, my son is 16 years old now, and we are supposed to move to the UK very soon on spousal visa. Every day when I look at this child, I know very well that I have been lying to my dear husband for the past 16 years. So my question, Brother Nash, is that should I confess to my husband? And I know that if I confess to my husband, this will be the end of my life. The child, I know that he deserves to know his own father, but I do not know what to tell him, because this man, I only knew him by his totem. I used to call him Shumba Shumba. As for his first name, Brother Nashi, since this thing, it was just a cheating thing, I have forgotten even his first name, but I only know his totem. He is called Shumba. He used to do some local lords there in Botswana. I don't know what to do. Please help me. Should I tell my husband, or is this a secret whereby I am supposed to go to the graves without telling anyone this secret? If I tell my husband this secret, the thing that I am afraid about is that then he is going to cancel the process that we have been doing. Then I am going to lose out on the opportunity of me being in the United Kingdom, and that is my end game for me being in the United Kingdom. Please help me by the grace of God. Dear listeners, right there was a message that we received from our dear sister. Please let us try to assist her in the comment section.